BEIJINGSEOUL A Chinese special envoy has gone to Pyongyang during what could prove a window to push for talks between North Korea and the U.S. on de-escalating tensions. Song Tao, head of the Chinese Communist Party's International Liaison Department, arrived in the North Korean capital Friday evening, according to the Associated Press. He met soon after with Choe Hyong Rae, vice chairman of the North's ruling Workers' Party, kicking off a roughly three-day visit, AP reported. China says Song's trip is a matter of long-standing custom between two socialist nations, meant to update North Korea on the outcome of the Chinese Communists' twice-a-decade National Congress in October. But the visit comes more than 3 weeks after the end of that event, and follows similar trips to Vietnam and Laos. Beijing's envoy visited Pyongyang first after the previous Congress in 2012 Trump effect. China's foreign ministry chalks up the timing of this year's trip to scheduling considerations. But others suspect Beijing may have been waiting for 60 days to pass since North Korea's last missile test, which occurred on September 15. Song's visit was announced exactly 2 months from that date. Joseph Yun, the U.S. State Department's special North Korea representative, reportedly told an off-the-record meeting at the end of October that Washington would be prepared to resume dialogue with Pyongyang after a 60-day halt in nuclear tests, according to American media. U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday called Song's visits a big move on Twitter. In this light, the trip appears to be a sign of U.S.-China cooperation on North Korea following Trump's visit to China last week. Trump will announce early next week whether the U.S. will redesignate North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism, the White House said Thursday. The decision will likely depend on how Song's trip pans out. North Korea's halting of weapons tests would provide an opening for talks with the U.S., according to a Chinese expert on Korean issues. South Korean President Moon Jae-in's visit to China in December and the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics in February will bring additional impetus for dialogue. Narrow window, yet time is limited. The U.S. and South Korea are expected to hold their annual faux-legal joint military exercises near the Korean peninsula in March. That event typically draws strong pushback from Pyongyang, and is expected to raise tensions this time as well. China has suggested a freeze-for-freeze compromise, suspending both weapons testing and U.S. military exercises. Achieving this would be a diplomatic coup for Beijing, not least because it would mean convincing the North to embrace dialogue in just 3 months or so. Whether a path to the negotiating table can be found by February will shape how the North Korea situation plays out, a diplomatic source in Beijing said. Yet it is far from clear that Kim Jong-un's regime is willing even to discuss giving up its nuclear weapons, which it believes are essential for national security. Some in South Korea, meanwhile, believe the North's lack of recent tests owes purely to technical challenges encountered in missile development. The U.S. has had no communication from the North as to the reason for the halt, so I don't know whether to interpret it positively or not, Envoy Yun told reporters Friday on the South Korean island of Jeju.